Here are the results of the kitchen refinishing. The reason we did it was the kitchen had some really severe water damage. Two worst places were right here in front of the sink. The wood was basically just black from all that water damage, and then even worse was this area right in front of the back door, and it was just, yeah, you couldn't even tell it was wood. It was just a gray and black area right here from all the years of people walking in with their wet feet and grounding in the dirt there. So what I did first was take a 3x21 belt sander with 36 grit sandpaper, went through the whole area, and wasn't able to get into this toe kick area, so I then used a random orbital sander to get into there using 60 grit sandpaper, because that's the most aggressive one I could find. And after that, I managed to get a hold of a 4x24 belt sander, which works better, which I wish I had the first time, and used 80 grit sandpaper to smooth the entire area down second time. Then after that, I used a random orbital sander, and I think I used 100 grit and then 120 grit sandpaper. Then I vacuumed up the area, and I forget if I used a tack cloth or not afterwards. Or anyway, I put in 2 coats of oil-based stain. Then I tack clothed the entire. No, then I did a very light sanding by hand using 150 grit sandpaper just to knock off the fuzziness that comes up when wood gets wet. Put down first coat of polyurethane. After that dried, sanded the whole thing down using steel wool to just get a sort of a gray powdery residue. Vacuumed that up, tack cloth that up, and then put down a second coat of polyurethane. And that's what this is now, and it worked out pretty good. I used a glossy polyurethane because the semi-gloss and satin is a little bit less durable. The way that you make polyurethane less glossy is by adding in some aluminum oxide something. I'm not exactly sure what it is. And however, the problem is that creates a softer polyurethane after it hardens up. So if you really want a non-glossy effect, the best way to do it is just go ahead and lay down a couple coats of glossy, and then whatever final coat you're going to put in, make that your satin or semi-gloss, and that's a much better way to do it. So came out pretty good, very glossy. You can see the reflection of things now. This area, you can't tell unless you know it, but I had to sand this area so much that there's just a very slight depression right here. So this is a little bit lower than the other area, but since I used the belt sander, I didn't have to take the entire floor down to the same level. I only had to take this area down, which I think is a better way to do it. And over here, you'll see where the old refrigerator used to be. There's actually, I took a shelf out. There's where the shelf goes. I took that out just so I can get back there, and then I put that back in. So when this last shelf comes down, then you won't be able to see that black area there or this line. But this is where the refrigerator was. So there's some staining. You can see a big stain right there. Thought about taking that down, but again, I didn't want to create too big of a depression, so I decided I'll just leave it there, maybe add a little more stain to hide it, but that didn't work, but that's alright. And trying to get into this toe kick area, yeah, I just couldn't do it with a belt sander. There's no way it wouldn't get anywhere close to it, and the random orbital sander just barely made it in there, not really even quite all the way. And that what is it, 60 grit sandpaper wasn't really aggressive enough to take the finish off, so I had to do a little hand sanding over there. And then I got tired, so I didn't take the finish off all the way, but that's okay. And Other than that, I left this in place. There's a piece that I took off, so you won't be able to see back there. So this piece will come back on, and it's going to end right here. So that'll look perfect. Over here, I didn't want to move the fridge or the washing machine, so I lifted up the washing machine, so you won't be able to tell there. If you look in there, obviously I didn't get in there, so you will be able to see that. I'll probably put something down there. And here on the fridge, I was able to get it far enough in, so you can't tell there. So overall, it's a pretty good job. It took about 4 days, maybe 5, depending on how you want to count it, with all the drying time. Usually for the polyurethane, it took almost a day between the 2 coats.